Can you just answer a quick question for us? Were you against doing a cognitive test for President Biden? Were you afraid of sharing any of the results from a cognitive test? Would you have supported a cognitive test if the doctor would have approved of it? Do you think the president was fit to serve for another 4 years?
That was Joe Biden's former senior advisor, Anita Dunn, ignoring questions from senior national correspondent Aisha Hasni after being interviewed by the House Oversight Committee about the former president's cognitive decline. A source told Fox that during Dunn's interview, she revealed Biden's inner circle decided the president should not take a cognitive test, claiming there was no political benefit to it. And a second source confirmed Biden's team decided against doing a Super Bowl interview last year because they worried Biden's handling of classified records would be the focus. There are still 4 former Biden officials scheduled for interviews, including Karine Jean-Pierre and Biden's former chief of staff, Jeff Zients. At least 10 former Biden officials have already been questioned by the House Oversight Committee. A majority of them have pled the Fifth. Now, Lisa, I come to you because I think as much as we've been intrigued by the people who walk through those halls and who will be, Karine Jean-Pierre is the one that we're all going to be watching because she has some motivations, I bet.
Should we watch it together?
Maybe.
We'll have a watch party.
I'm down.
About the comment about they didn't want to do it because it wasn't politically advantageous. That's the problem, is they put politics first, not America first. And that's how we got a weekend at Bernie's president and administration. But about our watch party that we're going to have about Karine Jean-Pierre, I'm excited about the September 12th hearing because they've already gone scorched earth. Like, Karine Jean-Pierre and Biden world are at odds, right? She's got a book coming out in October where she's going to blow up the administration, which is also hilarious because she was the mouthpiece for the administration. So she's kind of a hypocrite. But then that's the point that Biden world has made about her. And there's this Axios article saying Biden world goes scorched earth on Karine Jean-Pierre. They interview more than 24 people in Biden world. And then there's like these brutal comments, like the hubris of thinking you can position yourself as an outsider when you not only enjoyed the perks of extreme proximity to power, yada, 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 but actively wielded it from the biggest pulpit there is as breathtaking as it is desperate. So needless to say, fireworks.
Yeah, we'll be watching, Tom, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be watching it.
Party?
Listen, I always say this to the Republicans, you know, because they're always holding hearings. Some of them are fruitful, some of them are not. I don't think this one is going to bear any fruit. The AutoPen scandal is a scandal. It's a moral crime, but it is not a prosecutable crime. They're not going to be able to nail any of these people because they're all going to lie. They're all a bunch of liars, and they will go in there with a straight face and they will say, he seemed fine to me. He was always in control of everything. They're not going to get anything on this. The scandal you got to go for is the Russia hoax, or what I call the deep state coup. The Russia hoax is the key to all of this. How did we get a weekend at Bernie's president? We got him because of the Russia hoax and the deep state coup. That is the prosecutable thing. That is where you had people like Jim Comey and other people in the FBI and the CIA, Brennan and all these guys, and Obama, and all these people, and Anita Dunn. They were all in on it. And that's what you prosecute, because you're not going to get them on this other stuff.
Yeah, David, actually, Tom brings up a really good point. And that's been kind of, I think, my question and a lot of people out there. What is actually going to come from this investigation on the AutoPen?
I agree with Tom. I'll call it a caveat on that. The judicial appointments that were done by AutoPen. The pardons are pardons, plenary power, and more. The judicial appointments, if they were done illegally, those are people who will sit on benches and affect Americans' lives. So I do agree with you on where to follow this. The Russia hoax, what they did to Papadopoulos, to Carter Page, to everyone, to Americans. I mean, this was an administration on full bore. By the way, when it comes to must-watch committee TV with Karine Jean-Pierre, Anita Dunn, and all of them. Yes, they're going to lie, but realize that they're not really at odds with each other. When necessary, they serve their own purpose. She needs to sell books, so her publicist and her lawyers will carefully craft maybe that statement that will get attention, that will make the rounds, and suddenly, hopefully, people will buy the book. I think it'll sell more like Hillary Clinton's book, which means almost virtually zero. But the fact is, I don't buy that they're at odds with each other, because they're always there for the interest of the ideology. She was the world's most notable black diversity hire at the pulpit, lying Going back to her notes, she made Jen Snarky look like a pro with "I'll circle back to you." They are committed. This is just selling books. The way Kamala was trying to sell books a week ago, that fell flat.
But real quick, I think there is another avenue that this could go down. I've interviewed Senator Rand Paul about this, and he says that Dr. Fauci's pardon was signed by an auto pen. So he wants the Department of Justice to charge Fauci for lying before Congress to test the auto pen legitimacy before Congress. So I do think you could potentially have avenues like that they could go down. And then I've also had Oversight Chairman James Comer tell me in an interview that it is not constitutional to use an auto pen to sign pardons. So, you know, who knows? But that could be one road they go
That's
down.
a specific test, and that I think is worth trying. But I'm telling you that they need to look at these judicial appointments, because when the pardons are gone, when the president is gone, those judges will still be there.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.